There's a little blues for you guys to get you guys fired up here. Here we go. Day 3, Chapter 5, Spiel. All right, what you should have so far with your project is you should have an instance variable up at the top. Private Boolean is down. And then you have this code right here that will switch the key's image when you press the G key and back. All right, and what you should not have is this. This was bad. This is the code that switched the key when we needed it to or not. And so we need to have erased that. Okay, that's what you should have so far. All right, implement this play method. All right, public void play. Write this code right here. Okay, and make it play. Make this the key play. See what you can do. Okay, so here's what you should have after that. You should have a method call, and then you should have a method definition like this. All right, you should have that. Okay, now here's what I want you to do. Make 2 keys, put them in your project, and then press the G key, and tell me, write down what is wrong. Okay, and come up with a possible solution, not in Java, but just kind of give me an idea of what can we do to fix this problem. Write that down before you go on. Okay, abstraction. We're going to learn about abstraction. All right, I'm supposed to show you this particular exercise, and here's the deal. Okay, so we have this thing here. We can make a key, right? And we know that if we put in multiple keys and we run it, if I press the G key, that it plays all the keys. All right, so we asked for a solution to that problem, and one of the things that you probably thought of is, hey, let's just make a bunch of different classes, one for each sound. And that's fine, except for that gets kind of junky, and that's kind of the opposite of what we're trying to learn in object-oriented programming. You're trying to reduce work, and you're trying to be able to make one thing do a lot of things. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this concept called abstraction, and we're basically going to make the one key be able to play all the different sounds with different keys on my computer keyboard. Okay, so write this down. Abstraction occurs in many different forms in programming. One of them is the technique to write code that can solve a whole class of problems rather than a single specific problem. Okay, write that down. And so what we mean by that definition is just what we talked about. We're going to make one key that can solve multiple problems. Okay, and it's a lot easier to do that in the long run than to make a bunch of separate key classes. Okay, we're going to use abstraction to turn our key class from a class that can play only a middle A sound when the G key is pressed on the keyboard to one that can create objects that can play a range of notes when different keyboard keys are pressed. The main idea is to use a variable for the name of the keyboard key and another variable for the name of the sound file we want to play. Okay, so the first step is to create your instance variable, so do this. So private string key, private string sound. We're going to make these boxes that go along with our key, and they're going to hold the name of the key on the keyboard that you're going to press to run it, and you're going to create the name of the sound file that it's going to play. All right, now the step 2 is we're going to adjust our constructor. So now we're going to change this constructor here so it says public key. Now we're going to add some parameters to it. So key name and sound file. So what that means is when this key is created, you should be sending information to it saying, hey, when you make this particular key, it's going to play when you press this particular key on the keyboard, and here's the name of the sound file it's going to play. Okay, and so then we'll take a look at it and answer these questions. Okay, so take a look at what's happening. So we did this thing up here, private string key, private string sound. It's going to hold the name of the key. It's going to hold the name of the sound file. And then when you create it, you or the computer, depending on how you set it up, you're going to probably program it to where the computer will do it. But you're going to tell it, as soon as this key is made, you're going to tell it, hey, here's key name, here's the sound file, and then you take this information passed into our object, and then you're going to store them in these instance variables. So you're going to take it out of key name, and you're going to stash it into key. You're going to take it out of sound file, and you're going to stash it into sound. So now we're going to have something that looks like this. We'll have a key, and we'll have 2 boxes, right? And now tell me, what are the names of the first and second instance variables? These guys have names. What are their names? And second, what are their data types? Okay, answer those questions. What are their names and what are their data types? And by the way, you can try to find some answers up here. We'll give you a little bit of hint. Okay. All right. Now, so in this class, in this example, we have declared two instance variables in our crab class. Both are of type greenfoot image. The first one is called image1, and the second one is called image2. Our crab now has two boxes. What can go into these boxes? This is kind of weird. I'm not sure why I put this particular slide right here, but it doesn't totally match up with what we just did. But go ahead and answer. This should have been earlier in the slideshow. Pardon me. All right. All right, go ahead and implement the changes discussed above in code 5.5. That is, add fields for the key in the sound file, add a constructor with two parameters that initialize those fields, and now modify your code so that your key object reacts to the key and plays the sound file specified on construction. Go ahead and test this by making multiple keys with multiple sounds. So do this. And so, now do the quiz. And do these things. So show me your project that has, when I call on you in class, that has multiple instances of the same key that can play different sound files when different letters are pressed on the keyboard. What I'm saying is I want you to have it to where you have two keys, and this one, when I press the G key, will make one sound, and when I press the H key, this one will make a separate sound, and you're going to do this using only one key class, using the code we just showed you. Okay, and then answer this question.